Welcome to Brandon Hall Group's HCMx Radio, the only podcast in the HCM arena that weaves current market research, HR technology, and industry leaders into each episode. Our HCMx Radio host is our Chief Operating Officer and Principal HCM Analyst, Rachel Cook.
Hi, I'm Rachel Cook, the CEO of Brandon Hall Group, and welcome to our HCMx Radio podcast. It's great to be here today, and I'd like to warmly welcome with us Krishna, Kumar, Palappetty, the Chief Learning Evangelist from Tesseract. Hi, Krishna. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Rachel. How are you doing?
Great. It's been very interesting getting to know you a bit here and partnering with your organization. We have a lot of respect for Tesseract and the work that you're doing. And today we're talking about microlearning and getting your point of view on what it is and and some examples that you have with your clients and the importance of it, and also how the relevancy of microlearning today now more than ever. Before we dive into our topic, Krishna, can you share a little bit about your background? You have a lot of experience in this space, and I'd love for our listeners today to get to know you better.
We'll do that, Rachel, and thank you for the introduction. I'm really privileged to be a part of this podcast, and thank you for inviting me and the organization to be here. So a little background about me, Rachel, is I'm a new person to Tesseract. It's been, a couple of months, and the journey has been good. But prior to Tesseract, over the last 15 years of my journey, I've spent time in the BPO industry, supporting Microsoft programs. And I was there for like 6.5 years in a company called Concentrix. And after that, I joined a software company by the name MetricStream, where we were dealing with solutions that were based on governance, risk, and compliance. I used to lead the global training division. I've traveled the world, and that's when I kind of learned a lot more about learning. I've had a little bit in terms of stints in a California-based engineering and architecture services company, but based in India. And I've also worked in a Vancouver-based recruitment company as a lead generation specialist. And Tesseract was my final pit stop. That happened a couple of months ago. And with respect to my journey in Tesseract, it's been really exciting because the kind of work that I have to do involves talking about the products, the services, working with the research and development team, and also building strategies to take the journey of learning ahead for different enterprises across various industries.
Oh, that's great. And so, it's always exciting joining a new company and, everything starting, bringing your ideas and, making a difference. So, it's been a while for me since I've started at a new organization, but I remember how exciting that is and, getting to work with everybody. And so let's talk a little bit about microlearning. And my first question is around tradition and learning. How do you define and what does that mean to you?
All right, that's a good point to start, Rachel. And now tradition and learning, the way I would like to look at it is, we have many seasons in a year, like Christmas, Diwali, Eid. And for most of the festivities, you really look at people who want a big chunk of all that happiness, But I'm sure everyone would have heard of the three famous words called less is more. And that set of three words has taken a long journey over the last couple of years. And I think that's really apt today, where people would like to keep things really simple, and that keeps everyone happy. And I would like to talk about a specific line that was quoted by one of the writers for BBC Culture by the name Beverly De Silva. And it's something that really stuck to mind when I read that respective article. And it goes something like, we focus on making room for more, which includes time, peace, creativity, experience, contentment, and freedom. And it's so true. A lot of what I said starts with learning, especially, how the information is presented to someone. It makes a whole world of difference. And having said that, what I really want to talk about today, as you rightly pointed out, is microlearning. And Tesseract as an organization envisions something special for the world in this space.
Okay, that's That's interesting. And, talking about learning. So does learning have to be serious?
Well, that's a good point. And, I just got off another seminar that was taken by Suresh, our CEO, a little while ago. And that was a question that was posed. Should learning really be serious? Now, there are various ways to look at it, but I'm going to say that learning has to be fun. And I'm going to go back in time and take another statement from Winston Churchill, who said, personally, I'm always ready to learn, but I do not like being taught. And I think that's very ideal, even from the space that I've come in over the last couple of years. And one of the primary reasons why learners really don't feel motivated is because there's really no fun behind the actual learning. And fun
Mhm.
creates a lot of motivation. So where's the drive? Where's the energy? So I think learning should really be fun. It could be serious depending on the industry you're in, but predominantly there should be fun.
Right. And you're even seeing, learning that's mandated for risk and compliance. They're coming up with all different kinds of ways to make it engaging and interactive, on very serious topics. They can even add a little bit of humor. And sometimes doing that, but in the right way, it will stick with you and you can connect with it better. Sometimes taking, even in life, if you take sometimes the most serious situations and you kind of figure out how to humorize it, it's kind of a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
so with micro learning, is that your answer? What is micro learning? Is that the answer to, how we make this more fun?
Um, in today's world, Rachel, microlearning, evolved over a period of time. When digital learning started, it started with e-learning, and then, over a period of time, it changed into microlearning, and that's the future, and it's still evolving as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are various definitions for microlearning, but there's a famous speaker who's associated with Tesseract, and he's been writing blogs for us, and his name is Carl M. Cap, and he's co-authored a book with another author by the name Robin A. DeFleece, and the name of the book is Microlearning Short and Sweet. Now, I would like
Mm-hmm.
to take that quote because it kind of sums it up for all of us. Now, in that, what microlearning is defined as like an instructional unit that really provides a short term engagement and activities intentionally designed to elicit a specific outcome from a participant. So that's where microlearning really fits in, and that's how I would define it for now.
It's a good way of describing it, and I like how you reference those that have influenced or help inspire your thinking around some of these topics. And there's a lot out there, so and a lot to pull from. And anything that we find so fascinating through our research is culminating all of it and sharing, and to kind of help break down some of these very complex methodologies or constructs into more of a simple way of thinking about it. It's
Very
helpful.
true. Yeah, yeah.
And then, are generations and learning related?
Um, Really interesting question. And I always relate back to my conversations with my friends and my family, especially my mom. Now, we could confidently say that microlearning is learning of the 21st century, and everything has become really agile today. When you talk about strategies, processes, measurement outcomes, everything's really, really flexible, and we have to keep up with the competition. Now,
Hmm.
a couple of years ago, if someone would have told me that 50% of the workforce that we have today would be from the generation Y or the millennials as we call it, I would really not believe it. I was not in Tesseract at that point of time, though I was in training, but I really didn't think that we would get to that stage. But with respect to generations, it's really important that we consider everyone, the baby boomers, the Generation X, and, the new kids on the block as well, the Gen Z as we call it. Everyone needs to learn, and the message that we want to convey should be something that everyone can imbibe, So we need to ensure that no one's left behind. And at everyone's pace, microlearning is something that's really adaptable, and maybe the how changes in terms of how we do it, but microlearning will get us everyone to that destination point.
And what we see is with learning, or with new generations coming into the workplace, what drives a lot of the change is technology. And what drives the technology change, we find, is what people are already doing. So what these new generations or younger generations start to become accustomed to, newer technology sooner than more mature generations, because we kind of are familiar with what we know, and we may have a little bit more of a learning curve, or less of an adoption rate as someone that's just growing up with it. So I think kind of what you said is valid. We have all these generations, and it doesn't mean that me, at my stage, are not, I won't, adopt, let's say, the YouTube videos or the TikTok videos. So, I was just talking to someone from a learning director from one of the chains for exercise, one of the global organizations, and they're starting to create these very small TikTok videos because a lot of their staff are coming in, and that's how they're used to communicating and interacting. So thinking about that, and you see over time it'll probably become more relevant. Some things become more mainstream, and some things do phase out as trends. So I think from a learning perspective, it's really important to kind of be able to track those trends and figure out and test out what works and what doesn't. And I think that's the fun part of it too, right? Being able to come up with new ideas and innovative ways of connecting with people. And my next question to you is, now KREDO is your platform. Can you talk about what it is, and how does it stand out, or what makes it so relatable?
Yeah, definitely, Rachel. So you brought up a couple of good points with respect to the adaptability, as generations come by and go. Some phase out and some are here to stay. So when I want to speak about microlearning, KREDO obviously is the next best thing that Tesseract, has come up with over the last couple of months, and it's still evolving and growing. Now, KREDO is a platform, a learning platform that seamlessly falls into the microlearning journey across any space. You can talk about verticals like manufacturing, financial services, or oil and gas, government sectors, etc. Any sort of a microlearning journey is something that KREDO can adapt to, and it gives the bandwidth to kind of put a pause when you think it's really necessary, and start over again whenever the user needs to really go ahead. Now, one of the things with KREDO is, with respect to completing tasks, a lot of follow-up actions in terms of administrative actions, or creation of courses, publishing them, creating different kinds of learning paths, slicing and dicing different kinds of activities coming through. It becomes really seamless. It's not something that you have to be an expert to begin with. You can be a simple novice to begin with microlearning using KREDO, because what we kind of talk about KREDO is someone who likes to start with a course today, they want to roll it out tomorrow, and they can go live in 5 days. That's what we speak about when we talk about KREDO. And when KREDO was really being developed, a couple of years ago, there was only one factor in mind, with the development team, with the leadership. We looked at how quick would it be to adopt a change, to respect the workforce that's evolving, and the different dynamics that come into the picture. So that's where the architectural foundation of KREDO was actually envisioned, and that's what we are working on today, and it's evolving as we speak.
Can you share kind of an example of one of your clients, or of how it's kind of what it looks like, and how did they learn from it or leverage it?
Right. So we have a KREDO that's being adopted by one of the companies in the UK itself, and they are working on how to onboard a respective set of users in the system. And we have a similar interaction and a client in the Middle East as well. So we have two different geographies with two different demographics, two different kinds of user profiles, diversities. So where this really helps is with KREDO, even before you kind of onboard a respective user or a set of users, you have like a pre-assessment or a pre-checklist that you can work on. It involves surveys, it involves questionnaires that are being created, and you get to understand more about the kind of process that the company is looking for to onboard these employees, what makes them more comfortable in the system, how short or how long is their learning span, and what kind of different stages they want to go through during the interview process, how they can go into production, and how they can also start applying the tools in production in a shorter time frame. So KREDO is all about how you can, envision those kind of aspects even before they come into the system and start their learning journey. You have a lot of pre-checklist tasks that can be accomplished using KREDO.
That's great. And we find with, especially, during the recruiting process, that there's so much information that you're learning from the candidate, and
Right.
and it's not always passed over into the organization once they join. So there's a lot of information that's lost. And I think that's also a piece we find in our engagement surveys, that why some individuals or employees, when they join an organization, the onboarding is so critical. And oftentimes if that's not well done, or if there's a disconnect, that's one of the reasons sometimes an employee will leave an organization, because they don't feel that onboarding is effective, or that their expectations of what the organization, maybe the organization is a great organization, however their communication of what they offer and and how they onboard is not as effective. And so that's a really important piece, and that's, I think, a differentiator of using KREDO as part of your learning journey. In that preset of onboarding is so critical. What are other ways, or how else would you consider KREDO as a silent influencer?
Well, I speak about the fact that, KREDO is not, a substitute for any of the other learning platforms or learning strategies in the world. We would never say that use KREDO because that's the best endorser for microlearning, but we would always say that, KREDO plays its part in terms of how your content is visualized, aesthetics, what kind of learning assets you bring into the picture, and how it really works. So KREDO really helps author, courses that are easy, updation becomes easy, delivery becomes faster. You have high completion rates because the learning becomes more fun, as we spoke about it earlier. And with respect to being a silent influencer, is we have a different set of methodology or various methodologies that we can use, as we, move into KREDO as well. And here too, I would like to talk about, a very famous personality by the name Kathy Moore. And through our unique courses templates, we work on being able to add additional resources, dynamic learning paths, identifying business goals, so on and so forth. And Kathy Moore is someone who is internationally acclaimed and recognizes the training designs to be really simple. Move away from the instruction that gets really boring. And simply put, the way we would like to see KREDO is we adopt an apply first mindset. We also look into learning at speed and also learning in the flow of work, or learning when you really need it at the point of need. So that's where I would say KREDO is more like a learning influencer that also works in the background.
That's great. And I would add to that, when you also, KREDO is a blended learning methodology, or you utilize a lot of blended learning in the overall delivery of it. So, and I think that in itself is important. As you know, it's learning in the now. It's where people are, and also what people, for certain people, people prefer to be in an environment like this with a virtual, ability to communicate. Some want to just learn on their own. Some want to be in a classroom still. So I think having that blended approach is so important.
Absolutely, that's true. Yeah.
Well, this is great, Krishna. Thank you. You shared a lot of insights, and it was really fun getting chatting with you today. Is there anything else, what's next for Tesseract for this year that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, that's a good question, and there are a couple of things, exciting journey for us, and that's lined up for the upcoming year and towards the end of the year as well. Now, one of the things with KREDO is we are ensuring that KREDO evolves with technology. KREDO evolves with diversity, inclusion, equity. So that's all something that we are getting into the platform as of now. We are looking at, putting in the space of innovation where KREDO can evolve to master new skills. And towards the end of the year, we are having an extension of KREDO, in the form of a new platform that's coming in, which is something specific to authoring with a lot of popular demand that's coming through. We are looking at having, something that's very unique to only defining a course so people can consume them right up front. So that's where I would say KREDO is having a lot of new things coming in towards the end of the year. And we're really excited to talk to different sets of people because, as we said, KREDO is for everyone. It doesn't exclude anyone from the space of learning.
That's exciting. Well, congrats and good luck with your release. All great stuff. Thank you again for joining me today. Thank you everyone for listening in. And so it's a wrap. Stay healthy, safe, and enjoy your evening, Krishna. Thank you for joining me later in your day. It's early in my day, but this is the nice new world that we live in, right? We can talk from India, and I'm here in Florida in the US. So it's great.
Thank you very much, Rachel. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for giving the platform to talk about KREDO and about Tesseract. Really appreciate it.
Likewise. Take care and look forward to chatting soon.
Likewise. Thank you.